from the Gateway Pundit, House Democrats are, quote, bringing out the big guns to allow illegal aliens to vote in 2024 presidential election. So that's happening like right now, not 2028, not 8 years, not 16 years, not 20 years, but literally right now. And it's incredibly predictable. Loads of people saw this coming from a mile away. And even if you wanted to be nice about it, you would say, well, the illegals aren't going to vote, but the left wants to get more congressional seats or some census data or whatever. And this is from the Gateway Pundit, so you got to take it with a grain of salt. I think they've been embroiled in their own sort of scandals, but quite literally, the entire media landscape has been embroiled in scandals. And of course, the Democratic political establishment is nothing but lies and scandals. Either way, my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm absolutely begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It would help me a lot and it would cost you nothing. But if you wanted to help me even more and spend some money, you would buy my book, New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com. That link will be in the description. They say, Axios has reported that House Democrat leadership is rallying its forces against a Republican bill due for a vote next week. So this is now the Gateway Pundit reporting on Axios reporting. The bill in question, the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act. They love this, right? Kudos to the Republicans, I guess, for coming up with a cute little acronym just like the Democrats do. Seeks to mandate proof of U.S. citizenship for voting in federal elections. Stephen Miller, senior advisor to President Trump and founder of America First Legal, expressed disbelief on X, writing, read the below, then read it again. A major D.C. establishment publication, Axios, says that House Democrats are bringing out the big guns to get illegal aliens to vote in 2024. How can any American support a party that wants to flood the ballot box with illegals? Because we're at the point where these are literally, well, the illegals are obviously criminals, but the leftist regime is 100% totally criminal. They're only in it for themselves. And every single thing they do, they project clear across the aisle. Well, Donald Trump is a liar. Oh, well, Donald Trump's only in it for himself. But quite literally, it's you. And we can all see it now.
Nigga, did you know that I can see you?
There's the tweet. Read the below, then read it again. Yeah, so from Axios, Scoop, House Democratic leadership is bringing out the big guns against a Republican bill set to be voted on next week that would require proof of U.S. citizenship to vote in federal elections. And really quickly, this is how Axios headlined the article. Democrats whip against GOP's latest election crackdown. Okay, so obviously anything that is a tiny threat to their power, they're going to completely freak out over and, of course, deem everybody a criminal except for the actual criminals. Moving on. The SAVE Act is scheduled for a vote next week, and if passed, will require documentary proof of United States citizenship for voting in federal elections. Gateway Pundit is crazy with ads here, but Mike Johnson summarized the key features of the SAVE Act. It requires state election officials to ask about citizenship before providing voter registration forms. It mandates an individual to provide proof of citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. Why not all elections, right? Local, school board, anything. You can't show up here illegally and then demand you get a say. So yes, correct. As far as federal elections are concerned, they should definitely put a stop to this, but it goes all the way through, right? I mean, before you know it, they're literally going to have control. I mean, they're already commandeering houses in New York.
A homeowner in the Bronx started renting a basement apartment to a woman who was from Ecuador. But then within a matter of 2 weeks, the woman told the landlord, listen, I'm going back. I'm leaving. My brother is gonna take over the apartment. And he said, okay, can you please have your brother fill out the paperwork and include some IDs and send this all to me? That never happened, according to the landlord. In the end, the landlord told me that he believed he was just scammed. They used this woman to get them in there, and once one of them was in there, it became like a clubhouse for 8 or 9 of the most dangerous people the landlord had ever been introduced to. They were selling ketamine, cocaine, marijuana, and handguns out of this basement.
It allows state officials to accept a wide variety of documents that will make it easy for citizens to register to vote in federal elections. And for the record, I don't know, maybe I'm not old enough to know exactly what was going on, but I don't think this was a problem, a handful of years ago. But suddenly, when the left, I guess, starts losing, they've gone far, like they've lost the plot completely. So they're looking to illegals to help put them, not back on track, but to help give them more power. And now black people can't even figure out how to get ID. They don't know how to work a computer. So anything less than letting anybody vote, they probably can't even speak English. Anything less than that is completely racist. It provides states with access to federal agency databases so they can remove non-citizens from voter rolls and confirm citizenship for individuals lacking proof of citizenship. It directs DHS to determine whether to conduct removal proceedings if a non-citizen, a criminal illegal, has been identified as having registered to vote in federal elections. It requires DHS to notify a state chief election official whenever an individual has been naturalized. And here's his tweet. He's got the thread there, but Axios reported that House Minority Whip Catherine Clarks from Massachusetts has urged House Democrats to vote no on the bill. These are the same people who think a little boy can become a little girl, who I guess are now kind of coming around on the idea that Beau Biden shouldn't run for president again, even though it's far too late. You can't even have this discussion and pretend that it's all on the level. Well, should Beau Biden run again?
What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again.
And then what? So, yeah, he should run again. Well, you've already. It's like when you put a player up on the trade block and then you back out of the trade. It's like, well, they know you don't want them. But that, I guess, is the least of their worries. They are now trying to force everybody to accept the idea that illegals can vote in America, and it goes without saying that they are clearly going to vote for the establishment regime that let them come into America, run roughshod over Americans, and squat in houses, commit crimes, all of the other stuff.
Biden, ¿por qué?
Sí, porque nos apoyan nosotros no tenemos papeles, no tenemos trabajo y tenemos más hambre que el Chavo del Ocho y aquí estamos, gracias a él, nos ayudan.
Okay. ¿De dónde eres?
Venezuela.
While the worst of them are eliminating Americans, and they're like, well, it's not indicative, even though story after story after story keeps popping up. But that's not, that's the exception. That's not the rule, even though I beg to differ. And I can also almost be certain that there are far more terrible things happening that just go under the radar we never find out about. But I digress. Catherine Clark's office has urged House Democrats to vote no on the bill. Clark's office warned that the bill would prevent Americans from registering to vote with their driver's license alone and would make a passport the only acceptable standalone form of identification. Okay, right? I mean, if you only have one piece, then that needs to be the most official one, so I don't see why that's a huge problem. They added that the bill would create an extreme burden for countless Americans. And you love how she's saying Americans in all of her excuses as to, throw the scent off of the idea that this is all about letting illegals vote. And further intimidate election officials and overburden states' abilities to enroll new voters. Oh, it's intimidation. And Americans just want to vote. Bro, we can clearly see through it. We're just not that stupid. I know 30 years ago, you guys had complete control of the narrative. There was a handful of 3-letter media agencies that would report what you told them to report, but those days are gone. Elon Musk has weighed in on the controversy, tweeting, "Those who oppose this are traitors," all caps, traitors. And there's Elon, of course, it sounds weird saying a Native American, but it wasn't born in America, right? He's born in South Africa or something, but he made loads of money in America, employs loads of Americans, and can clearly see through the Democratic nonsense, and that's why they absolutely hate him, especially when he took over Twitter, and their narrative was immediately called into question. Earlier this year, the Oversight Project reported that flyers instructing illegal immigrants to vote for Beau Biden in the forthcoming U.S. election have been reportedly distributed at an NGO in Mexico. So NGOs in Mexico are telling illegals to vote for Beau Biden in America. Why don't you tell them to vote for your whatever cartel-loving president? The controversial flyers were discovered, scattered around the resource center, whatever, an establishment known for aiding migrants. Some of these were even found on walls inside porta potties at the location. Yeah, and like, oh, we love Joe Biden. This is absolutely crazy. I don't know why they added that last little bit in, almost like they had to get to a certain word count. It doesn't really have anything to do with the story. But the moral of this story here, I suppose, is that while we all knew there was something going on, this only further proves that they are trying to get illegals to. I mean, could you imagine just for one split second if, say, an illegal shows up and you guys are even too crazy for them, right? Do you think all the Venezuelans, all the Ecuadorians are going to get on board with the weirdo extreme gender agenda? Maybe they will if that's what allows them to stay.